We see in the show like some weird sexual tension, but
Between Stannis and Davos? Hey guys, you're listening to the Glass Candle podcast where we look at what happened, what could happen, and what will happen in A Song of Ice and Fire. My name
that
is
is
Eric.
all wrong. All of that is wrong.
No,
And
we're
I'm
trying to go through.
Lillian.
We're trying to speed through this.
I'm
And what do we
Lillian.
do, Lillian?
And we admin at this is so retarded. We admin over at the A Song of Ice and Fire / Game of Thrones Discussions and Theories Facebook group.
And that's all acronym version. I wonder too if people like actually type all that in to find us on Facebook, and they're like, "This shit doesn't exist."
I tried to do it one time and we didn't come up. So we should probably
It's
specify
ASOIAF/COT.
yes, discussions and theories.
Which direction slash is it? The normal one for that.
Forward slash? Right?
Yeah, now that I say it out loud, I don't. Just whatever seems normal, without having to. Anyway,
we sound terrible already.
we talk in a Facebook group with other people.
With 22,000 other people.
22,000 people have entered the group and not left yet. Well, 14,000 active people. But anyway, we have a podcast, and that's what this is. Today we're going to talk about A Clash of Kings, Davos I. Davos I falls in line with Catelyn's story arc, more or less. Davos only has 3 chapters here, so we're injecting those chapters where we think they fit. And this one kind of sets around the War of the Five Kings and leads in a little bit to one of Catelyn's chapters. So we're cramming it in here. As always, the episode format's going to go with a chapter summary. Lillian will do that. Then we're going to discuss the main character, who held the biggest influence over the POV character and why. We discuss any alternative actions that character could have taken. We see how the events in this chapter affect the other plots moving forward. We'll discuss alternative POV to see the events of this chapter from, and then we'll close out with quotes, standout appearances, and theories. That's it. That right?
Yes.
You're giving me this death stare.
Oh, I'm not meaning to, sorry.
Yeah, so that's our structure. Nothing's changed. The same it's been for the last 18 episodes.
No, we added some things, so it's probably been this way for like 13 episodes. 5? I don't, who knows? Can I do my summary now?
You may do your summary right now.
Okay. The chapter opens with the burning of the Seven. Melisandre has convinced Stannis that sacrificing the gods would appease R'hllor. Davos is uncomfortable, his sons don't like it, and it's pretty obvious some of the knights and lords are not happy. During the huge campfire ceremony, Stannis pulls a burning sword from the mother and is proclaimed Azor Ahai by Mel. Afterwards, Davos' sons are rude as fuck to their father, and we're basically told they think they're better than they are. And that probably sounds bad, but they resent who their father was and how he raised them, so fuck them.
What?
They're assholes. Okay, anyways. Davos finds his way to an inn and sits down for a drink with his buddy Salladhor Saan. Sala gives us the story of Azor Ahai and how he sacrificed his wife to make his burning sword. He goes on to complain about not attacking King's Landing and tells Davos to tell Stannis, bitch better have my money. Davos is called for a meeting. I'm getting better at not being so formal. I sound kind of stupid. Davos is called for a meeting with the one true king, and we get the hilarious lines about Sir Kingslayer and a lie, take it out from the incest letter scene. Stannis is going to send the letter to everyone possible and is sending Davos and his sons to post them randomly around the realm and in the free cities because people can read. I still think it's weird. Davos questions the inclusion of R'hllor in the letter and suggests more vague wording is not to turn people off. Stannis says nope, and we get the sad story of Proudwing and how it is time to try a new hawk, a red hawk. Did I miss anything?
I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but Davos does say, like, you should give me people to read this shit out loud because not everybody can read. So it's like, good idea.
Yeah, Davos
So,
can't read.
yeah, that's pretty much what Davos said. He's like, he deflected. He's like, I mean, maybe someone can, like, read them out.
Because how many
He already had,
people
he
at
already told Stannis
random,
once the chapter that he can't read, so he's just like, I don't want to repeat myself.
well, how many random people at an inn, like, are gonna know how to read?
I don't know. What's the literary census of Westeros and the Free Cities?
I assume in the free cities there's probably some smarter people.
Hmm. I thought it was interesting that he wants to send one of them down the south coast of Dorne. It's like, why it's there? There's like 4 towns along the south coast of Dorne.
It's still one of the seven kingdoms.
Not to mention, like, it's fucking Dorne. Like, who cares about Dorne? Yeah, there's
Okay.
Sunspear, Lemonwood, Salt Shore, and then you're all the way down to Sunhouse by the Arbor. Like, I'm sure there's like smaller villages and shit, but apparently nothing of note all the way around here. And that's a long fucking voyage. I'm looking at the map here. From Dragonstone all the way down to the south coast of Dorne.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't want him to go like on the inside of Shipbreaker Bay, or like on the inside of the Sea of Dorne, and like all the way around the Dornish coast. He's like, just send it to the south side of Dorne.
Well, maybe he figures in between the ravens will cover the rest of it.
I guess there's just nothing on the south side of Dorne. And really, like, if he's from Dragonstone, he's like, name me the king. I'm sure the people of Salt Shore are really going to be like, we're on our way. I don't know. Yeah, good recap. So this moves on into our first discussion point. Who is the main character here?
Stannis.
I picked Davos,
Oh, for
and
fuck's sake.
focusing on his religion, more like.
Okay.
You go first.
Stannis. Like, I don't know what else to explain. I feel like,
The answer is Stannis because Stannis.
the chapter revolves around, like, yes, we're seeing everything through Davos's perspective, and we get some information about his family and how he feels about stuff, but ultimately, it's about Stannis trying random ass shit to get some power of a foreign god behind him to win the throne. So I feel like it's focused on Stannis.
See, I feel like it's focused on Davos, and like I said, more focused on his religious perspective, because the whole time with the burning of the gods, it's how this is going to affect Davos and like the other like people of that religion, which isn't Stannis, like doesn't include Stannis at all. We get that legend of Lightbringer, which like gives Davos's opinion on the Valorism ish, more or less, where Davos is like, this sounds kind of crazy and stupid, and like this ain't for me. And then when he's talking to Stan, that's all about how the religion and like Stannis accepting of this religion is going to affect everyone else. Whenever Davos tries to correct him on the wording,
Hmm.
like Stannis and the name of the Lord of Light, and Davos is like, maybe not say that because people are a bunch of crazy religious folks, so maybe they're not gonna like you for this. And now, or Stannis is like, yeah, good point. So I think a lot of this is focusing on like how a guy who thinks he should be in charge is gonna be viewed for having this strange religion as opposed to the norm ish.
Okay.
Good talk.
All right, so what did you think was the biggest influence then?
Melisandre,
Okay.
what did you say? Stannis?
No, I said, well, I guess it's part of Mel. I said burning of the seven, but also Davos's family were the biggest influences on him throughout the chapter.
I said it was Melisandre's order to burn them. I thought it was weird how it was written. Melisandre told Stannis, like not suggested, not implied, but she told Stannis to burn the statues. It says her religion that worries him. Oh yeah, it's Mel's religion that worries Davos. Like I said, we talked about with him wanting to make sure Stannis' message isn't conveying like the wrong message. His letter's not conveying the wrong message as far as like trying to spread Relorism. And then it's him trying to sway Stan not against her, but to not be fully sucked in. Like when we were talking with Brett on what's his name, Crescent, how he should have handled Stannis, like in contrast or like in how he deals with Melisandre. This is the right way to do it. Is the way that Davos is. So I think it's because of what Melisandre's doing and like her growing influence over Stannis and that whole area. It's like that's affecting how Davos goes about his work over there.
And that's kind of what I'm saying to the same effect with the burning of the seven, because it's not necessarily awakening his religious views, but he says it himself. He's not really a pious man, but he's not comfortable with it. And I think the fact that he himself, knowing he's not super religious and that it makes him uncomfortable, he is fully aware of how other people in the realm are going to react to Stannis accepting this foreign god.
Absolutely.
But I also had his family because his sons are there, and they're also influencing the religious aspect of it. But he also thinks of his wife when he's told about the story of Azor Ahai, and so he's keeping in the back of his mind how his actions affect his family as well.
Yeah, I can see that. He does put all of his sons like into Stannis' service, pretty much. Yes, I think that about does it for influence. So what could Davos have done differently, knowing how the future plays out? I didn't think he could have done a whole lot different. He holds his silence at the bonfire, which was probably a good move. He tells his sons to shut the fuck up because he's like, you don't want to be like saying this stuff here, like you don't know who's listening and who's gonna get back and get tossed in the dungeon. Because he gets told, or we get told of those people who were trying to defend the statues and Stannis imprisons them, and a couple of them even die. So he's like, kids, just stop it. He gets good intel from Salador Sand, which is a good move to have that network out there to where he can get this stuff from him. He doesn't engage with the Queen's men, but he's still polite to them. Because it's Axel Florent, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And Axel seems more friendly to Davos than the other Queen's men do. But Davos is still just like, you're just a giant asshole and I don't trust you. But yeah, good to see you, buddy. All right. Talk to you later.
It's shady. It's really weird that he's overly friendly with Davos.
I don't think it's shady. Like, it could just be like Axel is just not an asshole.
I feel like there's an ulterior motive.
I didn't get that vibe.
Okay.
I mean, it could be like, there's like Axel, like, you try to play him up and then see if we can, like, get him screwed over. But I don't even think, like, anyone else looks at him like, Davos is a person we need to get rid of. They're just like, this guy's an asshole. And he's like some peasant upjump idiot. So, like, we're just not even going to talk to him.
Yeah.
And then my last one was manages staying well with wording and asking for knights. Yeah, so like we said, like he's gonna go post these letters, and he's like, "What if we had a couple people read them?" So it's like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And then with changing side of gods and men.
Yes. I had that he really couldn't do anything because it's more of an informational chapter. We're getting information. We're getting the stories of Azor Ahai, and we're being introduced to not really introduced to R'hllor because the prologue or whatever, but we're getting more information on it. And I don't know really that there's anything Davos could have or should have done differently.
Yeah, he kind of rolled everything the best way possible. Maybe, like I said, he could have been like, South Side of Dorne doesn't really have much for us, Stan. Maybe we should do something else with him.
Oh
But
yeah, because you can
fair
read a
enough.
map.
I mean, as far as we know, there's nothing on the south side of Dorne. There might be stuff that Stannis knows. So who knows? Technically, Sunspear is the south side of Dorne. So, uh, go ahead and take us into our next one.
All right, so how do the events of this chapter affect the other plots? So I have a couple of things. The letters have gone out about the kids.
Yep.
Oh, that's a comma. Okay, I'm like, what is that? My handwriting this time is not great. Um,
I'm not gonna shame you for it,
okay. So the
unlike what you did to me last episode.
well, because you couldn't read anything. All right, so the letters have gone out about the kids. Rumors of Stannis and R'hllor are going to start spreading, which we've talked about numerous times already. It's not going to help his cause, and it sets up Davos to be away during Renly's death.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about that part with Davos being away from Renly. I said this sets us on track to Edric's Storm. There's a reason for that, right? I can't remember why I wrote that. We do learn that Renly is on the move from Highgarden, and we all know what happens with that. And like you said, all the other players learn the incest and Stannis' claim. Why did I write that about Edric Storm?
Because it does come up here that he needs Edric in order to prove the incest.
Right, right. Yeah, it explains the whole thing about Edric. Robert's a bastard. He fucked that Florent girl, and
In
he
his
doesn't look
wedding
anything like
bed.
Joffrey. So as always, we get another personal slight against Stannis, where he's still bitter about it. He brings up something new. Do we get anything about Davos's cruise that he goes on, or is he just gone for like the next 500 pages? And he pops back in.
I can't remember in Davos 3 if we get, because honestly, I didn't even remember that he got sent off for these letters.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
I didn't remember that was a thing. So the third
Because I was like,
Davos,
oh, he goes up to the sisters and the white knife. This sounds a lot like a Dance with Dragons.
right? So then he should have already known those people.
Yeah. I don't like. So does he
Yeah,
actually go all the way up there? Like I forget what actually happens with that.
that's a good fucking point because the sistermen give him a shitty time when he gets up there and dance.
And Manderley doesn't act like he knows him at all whenever he goes and talks to him. So
Huh.
does he not make it up there? I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, so I don't remember if Davos 3 if he goes over what his voyages entail, but Davos 3 is Blackwater. So it's not like it would be the main focus of it.
Well, Davos 2. This is Davos 2. This is Davos 1. Whatever happens at Davos 2. That's the one where Shadow Baby under
My bad.
Storm's End.
I skipped a whole chapter. Okay,
That's
so
fine.
maybe in Davos 2 we do learn about his voyages. But regardless, that is a pretty big continuity error in the fact that if he did make it up to the sisters, why did he get treated like that in dance?
And even less so with the sisters, like Manderley. Because sisters are kind of like a bunch of inbred freaks anyway.
That's
Um,
mean.
well, that's true. But Manderley seems like an actual person. So, what else is Zava supposed to hit on the way up there? Okay, so he's supposed to go to Goldtown, the Fingers, the Three Sisters, and White Harbor. Okay, so what's in the Fingers? To Littlefinger? There's nothing up
Littlefinger's
there.
keep.
Well, Longbow Hall, Snakewood, Coldwater, Hearthome is in there. I mean, I guess more so he's just like mapping out a route for him, like go all the way up here. Fair enough. Then Dale was supposed to go all the way down to the Arbor. So yeah, so Dale's mission makes more sense.
The Arbor
Hit
and
Sunspear.
Gulltown always mess me up because
Why?
they're so south that I just when I picture Westeros, I just think of Dorne as the entire southern portion, and I always forget that the Arbor and Gulltown are like on the side, like Dorne doesn't spread all the way across.
Well, Goldtown is in the Vale.
Old Town,
Old Town, okay.
Old Town in the Arbor. Whatever.
That makes sense.
I knew what I was talking about. Wow.
Yeah, there's just mountains down there that kind of band Dorne to that bottom right side. It's just the left corner that's not Dorne.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump over to alternative POV. I picked Dale Seaworth because he's not an asshole.
Dale.
Um, yeah, Dale,
Who the fuck is
Davos' son.
Dale?
That's his son.
Which son? What does he do?
He's one of the sons. Like, transplant Dale with Allard. I don't care. One of his sons, I just picked Dale because he
Okay.
was the. But from Dale, like, we could get another look at the dynamics of the Seaworth family. We can see how the brotherly bond between all 19 of Davos's kids are.
All 19.
There's a shit ton of them in there. We can find out what he thinks of Stannis as a second generation Seaworth. How he actually thinks of his father being raised from nothing to give them all this stuff, since we don't know at all that they're ashamed of what his dad was.
They sure is. Davos even says that they closed their eye to the onion.
That's
That pretty
Davos'
mu-
opinion of it. We can find out for sure from their head.
Fine.
We can find out what they think of Mel, Solid Orsan, how much they're what they think about their dad hanging out with an old pirate, and then obviously they're Kingsmen, so we can find out what these kids think of the Queensmen. So there's a lot of stuff going on there, and I think going in from one of their perspectives, we can try to get a different view on how the Seaworth family in general is behind Stannis and how much they're engrossed in his success.
Okay. I picked the one that isn't an asshole. I picked Devin,
Oh, the idiot.
the squire. How is he an idiot?
He's a blind Queensman. You find out later, not from this chapter, but he's definitely a Queensman.
Yeah, but not right now.
No, right now he is. He just don't know that right now. Okay, so why Devon?
Because he's the squire, so he's going to be around Stannis and his councils, and he might be privy to some information that we don't get.
Okay.
And he's going to see Stannis and Mel's interactions that Davos wouldn't see. We might get some insight into what their relationship really is like, because obviously we see in the show some weird sexual tension, but
Between Stannis and Davos?
yes, between between Stannis and Mel.
Oh.
Well, yeah, it could be because Stannis is his god, so maybe there's something there.
That was just a
I know.
play on words.
Um,
Davos doesn't really think Stannis is a god.
we don't know that. Maybe there's another reason why he's so loyal to Stannis. Okay, I don't like. We fuck
There's
around.
a reason. Everything he owes is to Stannis.
Exactly,
Everything
and
he
his
has
sons
is owed to Stannis.
and his sons are assholes about it. But anyways, what I was gonna say is we fuck around and we joke about a lot of stuff, and if people don't know us, I really hope they don't take us seriously because I really genuinely do not think there's anything going on between Davos and Stannis, and I just want to make that clear.
Okay.
Making that clear. Do you think there's fanfic with them?
Oh, definitely.
Oh God, why do people do that stuff?
Because they have imagination. Anyway, let's backtrack. Why are his sons assholes?
Because the way they talk to Davos, they're just assholes. Why should so and so remember that you're a knight if you don't even remember you're a knight? And it's just, I feel like they're rude to their father.
Well, I'm looking up to see this quote where it said, "Why aren't you a knight?"
Well, because Davos says something about smugglers' sons, and Dale or Allard, one of them says, how are they to remember you're a knight if you don't even consider yourself a knight? The others take our onion. That's another thing. They hate the onion. I'm a knight's son, father. If you won't remember, why should they? Oh, because the line before that is, when did you grow so devout? Davos said. What does a smuggler's son know of the doings of gods? And then I don't know if it's Allard or Dale, but I'm a knight's son. If you won't remember, why should they?
Yeah, is Davos being self-depreciating and his son being like, Dad, come on, you're not a smuggler anymore. If you
Okay.
don't think of yourself as a knight, then like why would other people?
Because Davos knows where he came from. He has an appreciation for his roots, and his sons just want to pretend that they're better than that.
But they are better than that.
They are better than that now. They have been raised up, yes, but there's no reason for them to like look down on their history and where they came from.
But what he's saying there is we need to act the part that we're in now, or else everybody's just gonna keep remembering us being like small pieces of shit. We're not small pieces of shit. We're important people now. Or more, you are an important people now.
You are an important people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Davos is being too. No, I know I'm like really trusted of Stannis, but really I'm just a pirate. And they're like, fuck that. No, you're not.
Okay.
And he's just like, shut up. You're just a pirate's kid. It's like, Davos, stop being a. You're acting like a lot like John right here.
Aw.
He is. He's being all, I'm not good enough. It's like, asshole, no. Stop it.
Maybe I just self-identify too much with Davos, and so I'm on his side.
Davos is a guy that's like, he's applying for the job, and he's like, I know you offered me 70, but I think I'm worth 55. And they're just like, stop it.
No comment.
Topical and relatable.
No comment. Quote.
And I'm the son where I'm just like, fuck this shit. We're worth more than $12 an hour.
We have some personal financial matters going on in our lives, people.
No, we don't. This is all just a giant meme. Anyway, quote.
Oh my god.
One that has literally no impact on the story, but stood out to me with the wording of this. It's on 156, not 58. Yeah, 156. Davos is remembering Thoros of Myr. He says he remembered the Red Priest Thoros of Myr and the flaming sword he had wielded in the melee. The man made for a colorful spectacle, his red robes flapping around, his blade writhed with pale green flames, but everyone knew there was no true magic in it, and in the end, his fire had guttered out and Bronjon Royce had brained him with a common mace. That makes it sound like Thoros died.
Yeah, right? Like he had a Baylor Breakspear moment.
Yeah, I know that Thoros is alive. The book has established that Thoros is alive because he's in a Game of Thrones. But if he's like going in here flapping around in robes, so I'm like, okay, well he's not wearing like armor on top, so maybe he had like chainmail on beneath, and I guess he had a helmet on. He had to. It's not like he got brained and then like someone just like kissed fire of life back into him, and everybody's just like, okay. So yeah, he had to have a helmet, but yeah, Bronjon Royce brained him with a mace.
That stood out to me too, the wording, but then it also, I always think of Bronzion as like an old guy. I didn't think he was young enough to be doing melees.
Yeah.
But
and this was only a year ago too, so how long a year ago when he viewed stands in King Landing on stage returning for Prince Joffrey's name day. That was a year ago?
Yeah.
Because I thought Ned had been in King's Landing for at least like 6 months.
Maybe it's more than a year, less than 2 years.
Because then you gotta think like the time it took for Robert to go all the way up to Winterfell, which took a long fucking time, and then how much time Robert took to come back down from Winterfell, and then how much time has gone since the end of A Game of Thrones to now.
In the beginning of this book, Joffrey just had his own name day tournament. So a year before, he would have had his own. So it's possible that was like right before Robert took off to fetch Ned and all that.
Okay. It just seems odd that the beginning of, or not prologue, but at least chapter 1 of A Game of Thrones to now has been a lot less than a year. or Davos just doesn't know how to count time. Because it seems like a lot of stuff happened in Game of Thrones to now
That's how life works.
to be like, well, I mean, like people covering distances take time, and people covered a lot of distances, and it's like, okay, that's all happened in less than a year. Is Rhode Island the size of Connecticut, or is Westeros the size of
What?
Connecticut? Is it like really small? I couldn't make up my mind if I wanted to do Rhode Island or Connecticut.
I'm just very confused. I'm like,
I didn't write that joke.
did he say Rhode Island? What the fuck?
I should have just kept going and pretended like I said the right thing. Anyway, so yeah, Ron John brained Thoros, which could also be a sexual innuendo, but that's neither here nor there.
We gotta stop trying to make everybody gay. Yeah.
I don't
Everybody
make them
is
gay.
gay. Everybody is gay. Everybody's gay but Kat and Theon. But we won't
Yeah.
go into that.
Yeah, that's a personal headcanon there.
We talk
Yeah, we
about
can
some
add
really weird
Baratheon
shit.
and Thoros to that list now.
Even
I
before
mean,
this podcast started, like Eric and I would have these even weirder conversations than what you people get to hear. So
well, I mean, Thoros makes out with Beric so much that he keeps bringing him back to life too.
Oh God. All
That's
right.
canon. That's canon.
That is canon, yes.
Nothing to read between the lines about with that one. You got a quote, so we can change the subject here.
Yeah, I don't know where to start. Okay, so 146, the Red Woman walked around the fire 3 times, praying once in the speech of a Shy, once in High Valyrian, and once in the common tongue. I didn't realize a Shy had their own language, or maybe I forgot that. I thought they just spoke Valyrian.
Shy's been around a lot longer than Valyria, so
Well, yeah, after I thought about it, I was like, well, they've been around, but I just never, I don't know, I never thought about it, the fact that they had their own language and that Mel spoke it, and yeah.
cool. Is it my turn?
Yes.
So Davos is here thinking about the forging of Lightbringer. So then he pictures his wife in her tits, and he tried to picture himself driving a sword through her, and he shuddered. I am not made of the stuff of heroes, he decided. If that was the price for a magic sword, it was more than he cared to pay. So that's a real good focus on how Davos sees himself, how he's not a hero, and yet we see him do a lot of heroic things like later in the books. And it's kind of like that thing where it's like the people who consider themselves not as heroes or less than are the ones that do the greatest things like later in the story. Not so much a bastards, cripples, and broken things, because I don't think. I mean, Davos can be considered a broken thing towards the end because all of his sons die.
Oh, well, I thought because he's missing fingers.
Oh, right. That's a, yeah. Small little detail about Davos. So, yeah, there you go. Does that make him a cripple or a broken thing?
Both.
Because he can be broken emotionally because of his son's dying. Spoiler alert, by the way, sorry. And, and with having his fingers chopped off. So, yeah. Davos thinks he's not a hero, and he turns out to do a lot of heroic things.
All right. I don't know where to go
Especially
with
with
that.
sailing of boats. I have more quotes.
I have a bunch more quotes too. I had one about the sword, but I also have one about Davos being more emo against. Maybe I'll go to that one. So starting on 146, he's thinking about Crescent challenging Mel, and he was saying how Crescent tried to kill Mel, and Davos thinks to himself, he would gladly have killed the Red Woman for that, yet what chance would he have where a maester of the Citadel had failed? He was only a smuggler raised high, Davos of Fleabottom, the Onion Knight. So kind of going back to what you're saying, he doesn't see himself high enough or worthy enough to do perform heroic acts? Heroism?
Heroic acts?
Yeah. I
Well,
don't know.
murdering Mel is not a heroic act.
That's your opinion.
It is interesting that he puts so much weight behind Crescent being a maester of the Citadel. like, if one of those people couldn't do it, then shit. So he thinks
Well,
really highly of the Maesters.
the Maesters are supposed to be the smartest people and whatever else. And Crescent was
Sure, sure, sure.
probably always nice to Davos.
Sure, but I don't think he's like, well, Crescent was so nice, I'm surprised he couldn't murder this person. It was more like, it's more to do with like a skill level. So
Yeah.
with Davos constantly seeing himself as a common person, that kind of just shows the common reputation that the Maesters have, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because we're in Crescent's head, and I don't think we're wildly impressed with his skill or ability or anything like that. We like him for his like human emotions.
True.
We don't read that chapter and be like, damn, this Maester couldn't kill somebody? Wow. And Davos is sitting here like, that Maester couldn't kill her. Like, holy shit.
She's invincible.
Right? Scarlet Witch.
What else you got?
157. This one is Stan has no taste for such dance. Okay, so this is when hold on, let me find it over here.
It's the last line.
Oh, it's at the very end. So yeah, this is where Axel is talking about like how he can see shit in the flames, or maybe not him, but Mel says like the loyal servants of R'hllor can like see shit in the flames, and he saw a dozen beautiful dancers, maiden garbed in yellow silk, spinning and swirling before a great king, and he thinks that means people, like a vision of Stannis sitting on the Iron Throne in King's Landing. And Davos is like, Stannis has no taste for such dancing. He doesn't say it out loud because Davos is smart. But yeah, so this asshole is like, no, I saw a vision and this means we're gonna win. And Davos knows Stannis more than anybody else, and he's just like, that's not the kind of thing that Stannis likes, dude. But okay, that's nice. That's nice. That's cool.
That's nice. That's a pretty vision you had. That's nice.
Oh, that's okay. That cool. Yeah, good for you. Not the Stannis I know, but okay. So yeah, that's just highlighting how Davos knows Stannis better than anyone else does.
Yes, definitely. I agree.
Tag, you're it.
All right, so on 154 to 155, basically the gigantic story of Azor Ahai and creating the sword. We're a reread podcast, so if you don't know the damn story of Azor Ahai, I can't help you. I'm not going to read the entire damn thing. He forged it in water, it broke. Forged it in a lion's heart, it broke. Forged it in his wife's heart, yay, we get Lightbringer. So, Sala is pointing out to Davos that Stannis had a burnt sword. And Davos says, a burning sword. And Sala says, burnt. And be glad of that, my friend. And then he goes on to tell him the story of Lightbringer. And I find it really interesting that this early on we're being pointed to the fact that Stannis is not Azor Ahai. You know, I don't think, at least me being, like when I read it the first time, I didn't put any thought into it. Just like, oh, cool, here's how this sword supposedly was made. You know, and it's not until, I think, A Feast for Crows where Maester Aemon tells us the sword isn't right. It's, you know, and at that point, for me, it really got me thinking, okay, so Stannis isn't Azor Ahai. This isn't what's really happening. And I found it really interesting that it was pointed out so early on in the story that the sword was wrong.
Right, yeah, I didn't pick up on it too much. The show doesn't do anything with, well, no, it does call Stannis Azor Ahai, but it doesn't really dig into the mythology or the doubt of it too much. As far as I can remember, I haven't watched season 2 in fucking years, and I can't exactly remember what my thoughts were regarding this book when I first read it, but I wasn't like looking for, oh, this is all, or like this thing is probably a lie and this one's a conspiracy and this one is misinterpreted religious prophecy. I was just reading like, okay, Stannis is like, they think he's a god now. That's cool.
Yeah.
I did a lot of surface reading without looking too far into stuff. But yeah, reading this again, this the second time I've ever read this chapter, it's fairly obvious and blunt that maybe this isn't the real thing here. I had this coming up on my theories part, but I mean, I guess we can talk about it. But yeah, Stannis not Azor Ahai.
Oh, well, let's wait for theories because guess what? I don't have any.
Oh wow, really? There's even a patch face quote in here, and you still didn't see anything. But yeah, more or less, Stannis is not Azor Ahai, and these are all idiots who are believing the fire tricks that Mel shows them. So
Well, but there's a reason why they believe it, and that was another quote I had on 162. Stannis tells the story of how he stopped believing in the gods when he had watched the Windproud? Yeah, Windproud break across the bay when his parents died. And I think that Stannis has just seems like a bitter person, and maybe he wasn't bitter all his life, and that's what really changed him. I don't know, but that I lost my train of thought.
Stannis does seem like he's been bitter for his entire existence, though, because he had the hawk that Robert always made fun of him. He's like, "Yeah, your hawk sucks, and mine's better." So Stan was probably just like, "It's fucking stupid. This is bullshit." And then he sees his parents die, and he's just like, "What the fuck? This is bullshit." And then he gets
Yeah,
Storm's End, and he has to eat rats for a year, and he's like, "What the fuck? This is bullshit." And then he gets free of Storm's End and takes Dragonstone. He's like, "Cool, can I go home to Storm's End?" And Rob's like, "No, stay there." And he's like, "What the fuck? This is bullshit."
yeah, okay. And so that goes to, what have the gods ever done for him? Why should he believe in those gods? And that's why he's trying something new. He's trying a different god.
Yeah, his motivation for religion switching is understandable.
Okay,
What?
let's just move
Everything
on.
that you just said, how the
Yeah,
gods didn't do
yeah, I
anything
know.
for him, so he's switching religions, and that's understandable.
I guess.
If he's like, these gods suck, and obviously they don't like me, so fuck off, bye. I'll try a different thing. We'll see if
Yeah,
this one sucks anymore.
yeah, yeah.
And eventually he's just like, yeah, this is all just dog shit. So I had another one on 148. It says, everything I am, this is obviously Davos thinking, everything I am, I owe to him. Stannis had raised him to knighthood, uh, given him a war galley to sail instead of a smuggler's skiff. Dale and Allard captained galleys as well. Merrick was an oarmaster on the Fury, which is Stannis' flagship. Mathos served Davos on Black Betha, the other big ship. The king had taken Devon as a royal squire. He would be knighted. Maria was a mistress on a small keep in Cape Wrath. Um, so everything that he did, like everything that his family has, is because of Stannis, and like everything uh, that they have, like Stannis has, I don't want to say gifted, but he has rewarded them um, with this kind of stuff. And then later on, to kind of go with this, let's see, where did I have it? Ah, fuck, I can't find it. But it was talking about how his kids are being looked down on, but they will eventually be knights,
Their
and then their
grandsons.
grandson will
Mm-hmm.
joust with these assholes' kids, and so Davos knows, like, yeah, it's gonna be like I'm gonna be shit on because I'm up jumped, but eventually no one's gonna fucking remember like what happened to me, and like they'll just see my kids as actual knights and lords in their own right, so everything will be okay, and that
But
just adds into like another like level of humility that Davos has without
yeah,
being emo and self-depreciating and whatnot.
yeah, yeah.
I got one more quote. So Davos, like, and Allard and Dale are walking back, and they're just like making small talk, and Davos is like, Devin acquitted himself well. And then Dale's like, yeah, he fetched the glove without dropping it. And they're all just like, and laugh at it. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Uh,
It's like, yeah, you did real good, Dad. Yeah, you didn't drop the glove. Well done, Dale or Allard.
Devin.
Devin. So
Aw.
they were just making fun of him, a little bit of brotherly jibes going back on. So I was just like, oh, that's fun. I want to hang out with them and see what other kind of stuff they get into because they seem like cool guys, not assholes.
I don't know.
And they all eventually die, so
Oh,
he called them dicks. Feel bad. I hope you feel bad.
I feel bad when
Anyway,
people die, even if they're assholes.
you want to talk about the letter?
The letter.
Yep,
Okay,
the letter.
158. Here is the letter. All men know me for the true-born son of Stephen Baratheon, Lord of Storm's End, by his lady wife Cassana of House Estermont. I declare upon the honor of my house that my beloved brother Robert, our late king, left no true-born issue of his body. The boy the boy Joffrey, the boy
Jeff.
Tommen, and the girl Myrcella, being abominations born of incest between Cersei Lannister and her brother Jaime the Kingslayer. By right of birth and blood, I do this day lay claim to the Iron Throne of the Seven Kingdoms of Westeros. Let all true men declare their loyalty, done in the light of the Lord, under the sign and seal of Stannis of House Baratheon, the first of his name, King of the Andals, the Rhoynar, and the First Men, and Lord of the Seven Kingdoms. And then we get, you make it Sir Jaime the Kingslayer, my brother loved me no more than he had to, a lie, take it out. How would you react to this letter? Is it just a bitter person making a random claim?
If I was just some random person chilling down there in the arbor on the beach, and I got this letter, or I saw it or heard someone say it, I'd be like, what? Cersei and Jaime? Well, who's Robert's, like, real kid? You said all three of them? Come on. I don't know if I believe that. Really? Because they're all, like, pretty old. Like, Joffrey's 14. Really? No, like, this is what, like, Westeros me
Yes,
drinking on the beach in the
I
harbor.
understand what you're doing.
It's hard to believe. Like, I would read this and be like, I don't know.
Did he think...
The flea bottom fandom would eat this shit up. They would love it.
Conspiracy theories!
Right, they would love it.
Well, because they're
Which is why
already calling her a whore and everything, so...
Yeah, well, I mean, she's a woman, so it doesn't take much for the mob to call people whores.
Yes.
Because, you know, they're sexist and misogynist and this whole thing, so fair enough.
I can't remember what I was going to call you I was going to call you misogynist for being mad that you were Wonder Woman. But I decided not to.
Oh, no, it's not about Wonder Woman, it's about the movie being overrated, but...
I didn't watch it, so I don't know.
Bad. It's bad. The final battle just looks really bad.
Okay.
Anyway, try to stay on topic.
Whatever. I just really wanted to read the letter because I like Sir Jaime the Kingslayer. Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Would you believe this letter?
Would I believe this letter? I think it... I would find it interesting. I think I would think about the fact that all of the kids look like they could be incestuous. I don't know that I would believe it because I don't
What
think
about
it would be
Joffrey makes him look like an incest baby?
They look like the Aryan people.
That's what Lillian, the chick who works in the bar in Pink Maiden, thinks that Joffrey looks like an Aryan people.
Yes.
Okay, I thought we were actually having a real talk.
Hold on. So if I lived in Westeros and I heard this story...
I mean, really, between
if
me and you,
I'm-
like, we'd be like, who the fuck is Stannis Baratheon?
Well, and that's the thing. If I'm lowborn, who the fuck are any of these people?
Right. What's a
Myrcella.
What is that? Is that a person? I don't know. Cassina? House Esther? Like, what are these people? That's pretty much what, like, all these other folks, like, down in Dorne and
Yeah.
the fingers, they're just like, this means nothing to me.
They're
I
going
don't
to
care.
recognize Robert, Kingslayer, and maybe Joffrey. And the rest of it, they're like, what the fuck is this?
Cersei? Cersei! She's hot, yeah. I'd fuck her. But yeah, Robert, Cersei, Kingslayer, maybe Joffrey.
That's about it.
Iron Throne. Oh yeah, the thing, right? Yeah, that's the thing that they call it.
Yeah, Stannis, I don't know how I want to describe it. He had a lot of faith that people were just going to believe it, I guess.
I mean, it's the truth, and the truth deserves to be out there. So, and obviously, the intended recipient of all this stuff is the lords and
Mm-hmm.
you know the literal the literate people of Westeros who know who these people are.
Not the commoners like us.
Right. Yeah. Not Eric the drunk on the arbor. Like, he's not trying to convince me.
See, I don't get that. Why would you be the drunk in the arbor, or would you be the drunk in like the north so you can play hockey?
No, I'm from Florida, so I'd be down there. Probably still on the mainland. I'm not much of an island person, so like I'd be on like that southern tip of land. Like, what's that? 10 Towers? Is that down there?
Dude, I don't know.
I think it is. There's something on the other side of the mountains from Starfall. I talked about this before. Sunhouse. Yeah, I'd probably hang out in Sunhouse. That sounds like Florida.
Okay.
So,
I'd be stuck in Dorne regardless because I'm in the desert. So, yeah.
I mean, you can pick where you want to be. I'm about to go move to Chicago. That's nothing to do with Florida.
I'm not leaving the desert ever.
Okay, so you can hang out in Hellhole.
Okay.
With Lord Lucifer.
With what?
Yeah. There's some Hellhole guy, Lucifer Uller or something like that. Way
House
back in the
Uller?
histories. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the dude that.
Alaria's dad. Are you talking about Alaria's dad?
No, I mean Alaria's dad is an Uller, but the Uller that what's her name,
Nymeria.
sent up to the wall. He was a Lucifer.
I
It
don't
was like,
remember
wow,
that.
that's the one that knows. Lucifer, the Lord of Hellhole. Hold on, I'm gonna find it. Yeah, Lucifer of House Dryland. So he wasn't an Uller. Last of his ilk, King of the Brimstone, Lord of Hellgate Hall. So yeah, Lucifer, the Lord of Hellgate.
There are 5 Lucifers. Apparently there's a Lucifer Massey.
Okay.
Well, because you like Justin Massey, don't you?
He's a guy.
Alright.
I like the other guys on Stannis' quote-unquote Kingsguard more than Justin Massey. Godfrey Faring, the Giant Slayer, Richard Horp.
Yeah.
I like those better than Justin Massey.
Okay. Should we move out to standout, or do you have any more quotes?
No more quotes. My first standout is Davos' sons.
My first standout is Davos' sons, and their ungratefulness.
Huh. I didn't have anything else written down, but I was going to mention like how proud they are of where they're at and how they don't want to look back and they want to keep moving forward with what they've been given.
We've talked about this like 3 times already, so I'm good.
Asala Sand is my next one.
Same.
Is he black?
In the show, he is. In the books, he
Yeah,
is not.
Well, does it say he's not? He just says he has white hair.
He is. Is he Lyseni, I believe? And they are descended from Valyria,
Yeah.
so he should have their traits. In the fan art that I've seen, he is pale. He looks white.
Well, I mean, like, his mom could be a Summer Islander.
Okay, what does this matter?
I don't know. I was just looking forward in the text to see. I was like, oh, is he black? I don't remember because I remember the show and he talks like that. So I was imagining a black guy with long white curly hair. I was like, this seems weird.
Yeah, I had
Yeah,
Sala.
he talks a lot.
Yeah, I had Sala and the fact that he doesn't care. His attitude throughout it. He says what he wants to say. Doesn't care who's around and who hears him.
Yeah, he wants to fuck Cersei.
Not as graphically as in the show, but yes.
What does he say in the show? I don't remember.
I don't know if he says Cersei's cunt or no, that he was gonna give Cersei his magical cock or something along those lines. And this is just like that he wants to warm her bed or some shit.
He's a classy guy.
It's more graphic in the show.
He's like, Stannis has got to move soon because I've been away from all my wives for too long and I am lonely.
You don't have wives, you have concubines.
He's like, oh, whatever.
Same shit.
Doesn't matter. Stella just wants to get laid and paid.
Yes.
Do you want to jump over to the series, or do you have anything more to say about Stella?
Nope, I'm good.
Alright, so we got another patch face quote here. on 149. And I'm putting this in theories, not quotes, because it's patch face and it just requires what's the word you use when you try decipher? It needs deciphering.
I was like, I don't know where you're going.
Under the sea, smoke rises and bubbles, and flames burn green and blue and black. So we established the last time that under the sea generally refers to Valyria. Smoke rises and bubbles. Does that mean the volcanoes underneath the water are still active?
Maybe.
Smoke rises and bubbles seems like straightforward. Like, what is he trying to say there?
Are there hot springs? I don't know.
Yeah, underwater volcanoes is the best I got. Flames burn green and blue and black. So maybe that's just like in Valyria, like there was a giant volcanic thing. But the green flames, that's interesting, and blue flames and black flames. Because we know the dragons, they breathe fire from their color, right? Balerion breathe black fire.
There's different color flames, yes.
Blue one is blue. So does that mean like he's talking about like different kinds of dragon fire, or is the green part? Does that mean that there was some kind of wildfire that set off something
for the doom?
Blow up Valyria, yeah. I said flames burn green equal wildfire? Wildfire? Question mark. Was it an inside job? Where'd you go? Come back.
Well, because you said that, that's why I was like, 9/11's an inside job.
You went right off the deep. We're talking about an imaginary book.
That's what that.
So why is Patchface talking about green flames with Valyria?
Well, when you were talking about the colors with the green and black and blue and the bubbles, I started thinking of grayscale. I'm not entirely sure why.
Why?
I just said I'm not entirely sure why. I was gonna sound
I don't
real
get
stupid.
grayscale from it at all.
Is grayscale actually gray?
Yeah, it looks like the color of stone.
Well, because like, what if when it's damp, it's like bluish, greenish?
Why wouldn't it be called greenstone or greenscale?
I don't know.
Or
I
scale.
didn't put thought into this quote.
But yeah, no. So I just wonder if it's like the 14 flames of Valyria were all different colors, or if it means like there's still volcanoes active underneath Valyria where it's at now, or if the green is an instance to wildfire, or if dragons themselves destroyed everybody and then caused things like if the flames erupted and then dragons came out and killed everybody and they all died. I don't know.
Well, if that happened though, well, then where are the dragons?
They all kill each other.
So the dragons created the doom, and then what? They kamikazed themselves, or?
I mean, it was like a giant like rabid dragon fest. I don't know.
They
I'm
had
not basing
dragon
this on
orgy?
anything. No, they were rabid dragons. Like you know, rabid animals. They don't go off and have an orgy.
I didn't hear rabbit. I heard rabbit.
Rabid.
Okay. I don't know.
I swear to God, dragons having an orgy. Oh, is that what they do? Shut the fuck up.
Oh God. Okay, did you have another theory thing?
Not the real Lightbringer Stannis, not Azor Ahai.
Okay.
And then from here we can actually talk about the legend of Azor Ahai.
Okay.
So if I told you a story about a guy who stabbed and killed his wife to make a magic sword, would you think he's a good guy?
No! Fuck no!
Because that's basically what happened. You strip off all the details. The guy killed his wife, and because she died, he sucked her soul into the sword, and now he has a powerful magic sword. That's not a good guy thing. And then also this guy comes from Ashai, which is like the capital of goodness and heroes and, you know, good people.
Yes.
And I don't know if we mentioned, or if it gets mentioned in this chapter, but a big part of our lore is that the shadows are slaves and servants to R'hllor, which is based on Ashai. So Azor Ahai is a hero of the god who has shadows as slaves and like people.
Mhm.
So that doesn't sound like a good guy thing to do, right? There's not a whole lot of self-sacrifice involved with this. He
So
sacrifices other people, so that's okay. That's
something
what good guys do.
I just thought of, since you're talking about the legend and how with the shadows he's the hero. What is the point of proclaiming Stannis Azor Ahai if he isn't even worried about the Great War, like with the others at this point? Like, to me,
Well, what does
there's
Azor Ahai have to do with the others?
nothing.
You can finish what you were saying, but because Azor Ahai is an Ashai who fought, quote unquote, the Bloodstone Emperor and ended the long night of Essos.
It's not canon that he fought the Bloodstone Emperor.
Well, yeah, it's not canon. It's canon. That's what the legend says.
The legend says that he ended the long night. It doesn't say anything about the Bloodstone Emperor.
Well, the long night was brought about from the Bloodstone Emperor.
Yes, which
and
we
then
don't, but we
for
don't
like
know that yet.
for like 100 years, and then Azor Ahai came and ended it.
Okay.
Which makes it sound like Azor Ahai ended the long night by defeating the Bloodstone Emperor.
Okay, so if we take the long night, we know the Associ version, Associ?
SOC.
Those people's version is about the Bloodstone Emperor. The long
Those
night,
people? What do you mean, those people?
my people, if we want to get technical.
Your people. You're white.
You want me to bring my Chinese mother into the room?
Proudly self-proclaimed, by the way.
What?
I said you are proudly self-proclaimed white. That's what you told me.
When have I ever?
Because I said, you look a little Asian, and you're just like, oh my god, no I do not.
No, I don't. I wish I did.
You do, and you're just like, no, I look like a white girl. It's like, okay.
That doesn't make me... Okay, anyways,
And
what
you
the
sound
fuck?
like very proud. Okay.
No, that's not what it... Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay,
Anyway, your people, the Bloodstone Emperor.
my people's version of the Long Night has to do with the Bloodstone Emperor and the Blood Betrayal. Okay, the Westeros equivalent of the Long Night has to do with the others. So, my issue with Mel wanting Stannis to be Azor Ahai to fight the Long Night, is she assuming that there's going to be another Bloodstone Emperor, or, like, is it to go against the others? Because I don't understand what him being Azor Ahai has to do with becoming king of Westeros.
I don't know.
Like, to me, it makes more sense when he actually goes to the wall and realizes there's a greater war.
Right.
But at this point, it makes no sense.
Yeah, she just does like this giant ceremony. And she's like, look, there's a sword in there. It's on fire. It's Stannis. So I guess we find out later what her reasoning is.
I want to know who stuck the sword in the mother's heart.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, obviously the mother is supposed to represent Nisa, but like, it's a wooden statue. Like, that's not the same as
Mel
putting
probably
it
told
in
the
a heart.
person, put it in this one because I need it for my symbology later.
Yeah.
So you don't think Azor Ahai is a good guy?
No.
I don't either. Do you think Azor Ahai and the Bloodstone Emperor are the same person?
I like those theories.
I think so too.
I hope we get to learn more about them.
The whole thing with the blood betrayal. Let me find out where this is in the fucking book. We can.
I wondered why you had that book out.
Oh, here we go. So the daughter of the Opal Emperor succeeded him as the Amethyst Empress. Hey, that's you.
That's me.
Her envious younger brother cast her down and slew her, proclaiming himself the Bloodstone Emperor and beginning a reign of terror. Practiced dark arts, torture, necromancy, enslaved his people, took a tiger woman, feasted on human flesh, all this other stuff. So, as far as this book, the World Book, just says that he slew down his envious younger sister.
They call the Amethyst Empress envious? I thought he was envious of her.
No, her envious younger brother,
Oh, okay.
the
Okay,
Bloodstone Emperor, cast her down and slew her. And there's, like, I didn't do my proper research on finding the exact translations and quotes and stuff, but, Azor Ahai killing his wife, the Blessed Emperor killing his sister. If you draw from because the Targaryens and Valerians married brothers, sisters, and stuff like that. So if they pulled that tradition from a society that was prior to them, then you can make the case that the Bloodstone Emperor and this Empress were brother, sister, and husband, wife, like Azor Ahai and Nissa were.
Yes.
There's other people that give a lot better reasoning and logic to that than me just saying that, because that doesn't sound very convincing as I hear myself say it. But that's the thought process in there. And then both the women are killed by the man. Both the men gain great amounts of power from the killing of their sister/wife person.
Sister wives.
Yeah. So, and then there's all kinds of, like, with the deeper legends, the more detailed parts of it, with the symbolism and things that can be, like, transferred from one character to the other. And the Bloodstone Emperor was probably based out of Ashai, and Azor Ahai is based out of Ashai, and again, blood sacrifice that gives somebody great amounts of power. Same thing.
Doesn't sound good.
And obviously that's not Stannis, because Stannis is a good guy. That was my point.
Okay.
That's all I got for this chapter.
So wrap it up.
Thanks, bye. I mean, follow us on the YouTubes at Glass Candle Podcast. Subscribe there, like it, bump it up. And we'll see if we can get more people to join our Facebook group, which is ASOIAF/GOT. Discussions and Theories. Not a Song of Ice and Fire, Songs of Thrones. Because that's not a real thing. We've been, like, sending people to some other group. And I'm just like, I don't know how we just kept getting, well, assuming people listen to us, and then also assuming those small people who listen to us that are not already in the group trying to find us.
Yeah.
So maybe another group had, like, 4 people join.
Where's Arik and Lillian? Who the fuck are Arik and Lillian?
What? What podcast? We're also on SoundCloud, so if you want to check that out on SoundCloud, that's cool too.
And there's a defunct Twitter account that Arik tries to run.
I'm on it a little bit. Yeah, that about does it. So let us know what you think about the Azor Ahai legends and stuff, and about the Seaworth kids. Are they assholes, or are they actually just people who want to move forward instead of dwell in the shittiness of their past and their father's roots?
Yes, and we're doing Theon next, just so you guys know.
Yeah, Theon's next because it ties into Cat's thing. And then afterwards, the rest of Theon will be in Bran, but you'll find that out later. That's all I got. Okay, bye.
Thanks, guys.